Good morning friends, welcome to DBMS class. In this class, let us see schemas, instance and database state. In the previous class, we saw what are the different data models which are used to design the database. Okay. So these are some concepts which are used in the database design. Those are schemas, instance and database states. So those on this concept there will be questions for 2 marks like define schema or draw the schema diagram for a specified queries, and after that define instance, and next one database state. So let us see one by one. So as we discussed in data model, so it is important to distinguish between the description of the database and database itself. We have to differentiate between the description of the database and the database itself. For this case, we are using a database schema. So this database schema describes a description about the database. Schema means, or database schema means, the database schemas describes the description about the database is called as a database schema. So here it specified this schema or a database schema is specified during the database design. ಯಾವಾಗ ಈ ಸ್ಕೀಮಾನ ಡಿಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಡೇಟಾಬೇಸ್ ನ ಡಿಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಡೇಟಾಬೇಸ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮಾ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ನ ಆರ್ ಡೇಟಾಬೇಸ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮಾನ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಡಿಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. And this database schema is not expected to change frequently. We must not change, or this database schema is not going to change frequently. But database state or instance of a database is going to change. Database state is going to change frequently, because as and when we add a one data to the database, it regularly changes the state of the database. Okay, so we will see what is the meaning of database state and what is the instance of the database. But just now you have to know that what is the meaning of database schema. So database schema means it is the description of the database is called as a database schema, and it is specified during the design of the database, but it is not going to change frequently. And in most of the data models which have a certain conventions for displaying the schema diagrams. Okay, to design a database designs, we are going to use a schema diagrams. I will show what how we are going to design the schema diagrams for the database. A displayed schema is called as a schema diagrams. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ schema diagram. A diagram which is used to draw the schema or database schema is called as a schema diagrams. See, this is a example for schema diagrams for a student database. So this is a one entity. It is a one or a university database. It is a one entity which is added to the database, and course is a one more entity, prerequisites, after that section, grade report. These are the entities, and these are the properties or attributes of these entities. Name, student number, class and major. These are the attributes or properties of the entities. So we are making a one row and partitioning the as a cells to make a schema diagrams. Okay, so this is a way of designing the schema diagrams. The diagram which is used to design the schema is called as a schema diagram. And this diagram shows the university database, and this diagram displays the structure of each record type. Okay, but not actual instance of the records. Here it is not shows the instance. That means it does not shows the records of the database. It just only shows the entity name. After that it will shows the properties or attributes of the entities. And this schema diagram displays only some aspects like schemas such as names of the records, record type and data items, and sometimes it also shows the constraints, but other aspects like neither it does not shows the data type of the attribute. So here, see here we are not, here this diagram is not showing any data type of this attribute. Okay, and it sometimes it also not shows the remaining constraints which are applied on the database. ಏನು ಯಾವುದೇ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಈ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಏನಾಗಲ್ರಿ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. That's, and after that employees, this is a company database. In the company database, here we are adding entities like a employee, department location, project, works on and dependent. Okay, and see, this is an employee entity and these are the attributes added to this entity like first name, middle, initial and last name SSN. SSN means social security number, birth date, address, sex, salary, super SSN number and department number. And in the next case, department. Okay, as I told, we can create an association between one or more tables by adding a common attribute. Here, the common attribute between the employee and department is department number. You can say that here it is a D num and here it is a D number. So it's okay if we change the name of the attribute, but the data type must be same. Okay, so ಇವೆರಡು data type ಏನಾಗಿರಬೇಕ್ರಿ same ಇರಬೇಕು. And this underline shows that this is a primary key. In the upcoming classes, we will discuss about the types of keys. Okay, so here primary key means this is a attribute which is used to uniquely identify a particular department. Okay, that attribute is used as a primary key. ಆ attribute ನ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ that is called as a primary key. So primary key means the attribute which is used to uniquely identify a particular information, that is called as a primary key or a primary key attribute. Here the primary key is a department number, and in the employee table the super SSN or here SSN is used as a primary key because every employee is having a specific or a unique employee ID or SSN number. That's why this attribute is used as a primary key. Okay, and next one is a department location. So department location uses the common attributes of a department number. Okay, and here we are making a department number and department location together as a primary key to identify information about a particular department. After that, there is a one more table or a relation, that is project, and the properties of the projects are project number, project name and project location and department number. Again, we can establish a relationship between a department and project by adding a common attribute, that is a department number. Okay, and this must be same. Okay, and the values which are added to this table must be present in the department number. Okay, and we can create a relationship like a project holds. Okay, a particular department may hold a particular project. Okay, so in this way we can create a relationship between these two tables. And after that, works on. So again, works on is a one relationship which is established between the employee and projects by adding the properties to the works on table like ESSN number, project number and hours. Okay, SSN number is present in a table employee and P number is present in the table project. Okay, so works on is a relationship between a employee and project because employee is going to works on a particular project. Okay, that's why here a relationship name is a works on. And next one is a dependent. So it is again relationship between a employee, that is dependent, and we can add a properties to the dependent as SSN number, dependent name, sex, birth date and relationship, and here common attribute is a ESSN number. So this is about a schema diagram. So in this schema diagram which describe the description about the database itself, that is called as a schema, and the diagram which is used to draw the schema of the database, that is called as a schema diagrams. Okay, and by using this schema diagrams we can specify the properties or added to the entities, and we can also specify the records of the data. We can also specify the primary key of the database or primary key of the entity or a relationship. Okay, this is about a schema. But by using this we can't specify some extra constraints which are applied on the database. Okay, see here, this is the definition about the schema. So database schema is also called as a intention, so which is used to describe the database, but as I told, this is not expected to change frequently. This is a description about the schema. And let us see the database states, or the database state is also called as extension to the database. The data in the database at a particular time or at present is called as a database state, or that is also called as an instance. The data in the database at a particular time of a moment or a particular moment of a time is called as the instance of the database. That means at present time ಒಳಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ಸ್ನ ನೀವು ಡೇಟಾಬೇಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೇನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಡೇಟಾಬೇಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಇಫ್ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ 5 rows at a particular moment, so that means the instance of a database is 5. If there are 10 records at present, that means the instance of a database is 10. So at present, how many records are present in the database? That is a database states or an instance of the database. So this database is going to regularly change the state of the database. Okay. So a database schema versus database state. So as I told, database schema is not regular change frequently, but database state changes every time when the data is updated or database is updated. ಯಾವಾಗ ನಾವು ಡೇಟಾನ ಡೇಟಾಬೇಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವೋ ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ರೀ, ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ಲಿ ಡೇಟಾಬೇಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತಾ, ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದ್ಯಾಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ here schema is called as an intention and state of the database is called as an extension. Okay, so these are the example for the database schema or schema diagrams. So this is about a schema, instance and database states. In the upcoming classes, let us discuss about the 3 schema architectures. Okay, in the last classes we discussed the main important characteristics of the database. Okay, so to achieve those characteristics, those important characteristics, we are going to use a one architecture for the database, that is called as a 3 schema architecture. It is one of the most important concepts in your for your examination, and it will be asked for 10 marks, like explain 3 schema architecture of the database. Okay, in the next class we will discuss about a 3 schema architecture.